Hi guys, Jill here. I wanted to show you the card I made using the Mama Elephant Otterly Adorable stamp set, as well as my Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers. And I also have a background using the Distress Oxide inks. So first I start out using my Illustrator markers. These are new to me. And I'm listing the colors below. I tried to put out the caps, but that was like an epic fail. So I laid down my darkest color on this bottom otter. He's going to be kind of a reddish color. And then I came in with my secondary color. Now this one, like I said, is going to have a reddish tone to him. So I'm going to brush that second color all over the dark color. And you're going to see that that's what kind of gives him some shadow, but yet keeps that reddish tone. So everywhere I put that, I'll extend out that reddish color. And that's going to keep the shadow but keep that red. Now this is going to brighten him up with that third color, but yet wash out some of that reddish tone. So I want to come back in with that middle tone to darken up some of those areas. And then I'm just going to leave it at that. It's very simple. And the blending, these markers really blend nicely. It's very easy. There's just very, very simple. And I don't know why, but everything looks so wet on my camera. So sorry about that. Okay, and then I'm just coming in with that fourth color for the little muzzle. Now this top one, I'm going to make it way darker. I'm only using the two colors. And I will tell you that this trio of otters doesn't appear in this main card that you're going to see me put together. I ended up making two cards, but these are the only two colors that I use. So I wanted to show you this combination of otters because they're the two colors that are represented throughout the card. Okay, so I lay down the dark color. Then I come in with the secondary color and blend the two together. And then I'm going to just wipe that marker off and then just come and add in the light, what I want to be the highlight area. And that's all there is to that one. So it's even simpler. And like I said, these colors, they just blend right together. And then I come in with the face. And I am doing this on the Ultra Smooth Spectrum Noir paper. I love this paper for blending. And then I'm just going to come in with the black glaze pen and add in the eyes and the noses. And that just adds a lot of personality. Okay, so we're going to come in with the background. I have made this in a previous video. This is the Distress Oxide background. And I'm going to lay out everything. Now I'm using my frame so that I can see where everything is going to be. I do this a lot through the video. This is the Elephant Park Avenue frame. And I'm using my Mini Misty. With the greeting, I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I prefer this for anything that I'm going to use that has a lot of details. I also use this with watercolor. It's got a beautiful crisp, just a crispness to it. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. Don't know why. I was just watching that. And then I'm going to clean it off with my absorber. It's the same thing as the Lawn Fawn stamp chamois. And it cleans those stamps off with water. And it gives a perfect cleanness to them. Okay, so now I'm going to put that stamp away so I don't lose it. I either do that or leave them on my MISTI. That way I know exactly where they are. So I'm going to come back in and just a tiny bit out of frame, sorry guys, and I'm using a piece of vellum and I'm going to add some waves to the otters on the bottom there. I'm going to go with, there's 2 waves in this set. I'm going to go with the gentler wave because they're kind of floating along there. So I want the gentler waves of the 2. And I'm going to space it out there for what seems like forever. Bring down the mini MISTI door. And I'll come right back into frame here in a moment. So I'll bring down that door. And now I'm going to use the VersaMark watermarking. Now this is a nice sticky ink. I use this whenever I'm embossing something because it is, like I said, nice and sticky. And so I'm going to then emboss next to it. So I'm going to use the same ink, the same wave, and just stamp it next to it. It's not going to line up perfectly, but I'm going to go ahead and once I apply the embossing powder, which is the Ranger Superfine White Embossing Powder, I love this stuff, I wiped out the middle area with a paintbrush. That's after putting the embossing powder on. Then I'm going to heat up my heat tool and just run it across there. And it looks quicker than I did, but it was very fast that I did it. Then I'm going to take my scissors and just cut above the embossing powder. Don't cut on it or it'll flake all of it off the vellum. So this way the otters are going to be kind of behind the wave, yet it still looks like it's water because you'll still see that background behind it. So it kind of gives that illusion without having to color the vellum because I don't want to add another element. I wanted to keep this somewhat simple. Okay, so now I chose the other wave that looks like there's a little bit more movement because to me, this otter's swimming. To me, it's doing the doggy paddle. So I used that other wave and I again spaced everything out because everything is more compact inside this frame. So I spaced them out, made sure it was correct again, take everything off again. I know it seems tedious, but believe me, it's worth it. And I used the anti-static tool. And I used it on the one below also. It's very important to do that so no fingerprints show, because then you'll get the embossing powder on the fingerprints. And then I'm going to emboss again. And I'm sorry about all the noise in the background. I'm doing this voiceover with the dogs up and about, and they're just walking around, and the ice maker is sure kicking out some ice right now, and I'm sure you hear every little bit of it. Okay, so there I'm showing the embossing powder. Okay, so now once again I'm heating up my heat tool like before, and then I just run it right across there. That way it avoids warping. So now I'm placing him back on there. Make sure how much space I have because I'm going to cut it out with the X-Acto knife. Okay, so the thing with this is I'm going to move it a few times because with the X-Acto knife I find it's easier to pull the knife towards me. And when I say towards me, I don't mean like at my body. I mean towards me in the direction towards me. I don't want to cut myself, but yet if I'm pulling that knife away from myself, I'm not going to get a good cut. Now, I find it that I'm not getting a great cut, but still, pull it away from yourself one time on something that doesn't matter, and you'll see what I mean. So you just get a smoother cut. So now I'm once again placing everything where I want it, because I am finally ready to assemble this card. And I think it looks just adorable. And I also put a shell in that one little guy's hand with some leftover colored paper I had. I stamped it on there. Okay, so I stick everything down with my Ranger matte medium. And I love this stuff because it dries clear. And I actually got too much on that top otter, as you can see, and I just rubbed it around with my finger. And then I'm holding everything down with a clear block. And then with the bottom piece of vellum there, I'm going to stick it down by putting everything behind where the frame is. And that's a great trick. Use something like that frame so you can hide your adhesive. Because even though it dries clear, you're still going to see the adhesive if you're using anything behind vellum. It's very tricky. There's been many things that have been tried over the years. Okay, so this other thing that I was just cutting was double layers of foam adhesive. And this is not going to be a shaker, so I don't have to stick it tight against each other, but I still want good coverage. So I am putting even amounts across, and like I said, just not tight. And so I'm putting all of that foam tape down, and then of course peeling it up. My cat's now having a fit. And I'm putting that down around my otters, and I think it just frames it up beautifully to have the white one. I had kind of auditioned a few other things, but this I thought was the most beautiful. And now I'm ready to attach it to my card. I'm just attaching it to a white top fold card with my double stick tape. So it is all set to go. And I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you will give this a thumbs up. And I have a full list of supplies below this video for you, so just click on those if you need any of these supplies. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and please check out my other video on my blog, and I'll have that listed below as well. And have a great day.